Howdy folks, this is Ollie Barstow here with Visordown, and I'm here to inform you that reports of the death of the supersports class have been widely exaggerated. First little intro, of course the midi class has been dwindling over the last few years, as buyers instead saved up to get their hands on more powerful, dripping in street cred 1000cc plus machinery instead. The flip side of that means that manufacturers have instead been developing machines that look the parts, even if they don't quite live up to their appearances. In short, all bark and no bite. However, this is the order we'd still want them if money was, of course, no object. You ready? Here we go. It may be doing the business in MotoGP right now, but with the demise of its quirky turned cult RC8 V-twin superbike, KTM has rather abandoned the idea of going for a sports bike crowd. That's not to say there aren't options, but let's just say you won't be smoking anyone at any traffic lights. Nevertheless, until it comes up with a parallel twin-powered RC790 or RC890, based on the latest Dukes, how about that for a tempting idea, the KTM RC390 is currently their biggest and thus closest to our middleweight definition. In truth, it is at the bottom side of the brief here, hence its ranking, but it's still hugely entertaining in a lightweight Moto3 kind of way. At its heart is a punchy 44 brake horsepower 375cc single, held in a dinky slimline chassis derived from that of the RC125 and equipped with decent suspension and brakes. The result is tiny and cramped for some, rubbish over a distance, and yet it's a slingshot faster than almost anything down a tight and twisty B-road. If that's your bag and your body fits, there's no bigger biking buzz in middleweight sports. But as fun as it is around the urban jungle, be prepared for it to get a little bit breathless on the open road. If Honda's affordable 4-cylinder middleweight sports offering reminds of the classic all-round brilliance of the CBR 600F, which proved so popular through the 90s, then that's entirely deliberate. Originally introduced as the CBR 600F in 2011, it was based on the then 90 brake horsepower Hornet Roadster, with a full fairing and a more sporting attitude, and conceived both some more affordable, novice-friendly foil to the then full-on supersport CBR 600RR, which is just as well because the CBR 600RR has since disappeared from price lists a little while back, and a recent updated version won't be coming here either. As such, while the CBR 650R apes the Fireblade on the curbside, that's pretty much where the similarities end. Nonetheless, it's been a big success, partly due to the fact that it has literally no direct rivals. It's now the only 4-cylinder sports bike available at a budget price. If that's what you want, along with novice-friendly manners and practical all-rounder attributes, you won't be disappointed. Although the full-bore 4-cylinder supersports class is no longer what it used to be due to the loss of Honda's CBR 600RR and Suzuki's GSX R600, there are still worthy Japanese offerings with the latest version of Kawasaki ZX-6R today by far the cheapest. Supersport 600s always used to be the more affordable, practical stepping stone to a full 1000cc superbike, defined by their sophisticated, sharp-handling chassis and screaming, rev-hungry 4-cylinder power plants. Last updated in 2019, the latest version of the bike, which originally debuted in 1995, offers a full 128 brake horsepower, 160 mph potential, fully adjustable suspension and quality brakes, as well as a decent spread of electronics including 2 riding modes. As a result, its handling is sublime, and the overall experience is every inch Junior ZX-10R. On the downside, it's tiny and cramped, especially for larger riders, and has limited practicality. First introduced way back in 2012, yes it is almost a decade old now, Italian Exotica specialist MV's first middleweight sports offering, the F3, has endured well and remains one of the most focused, beautiful, well-equipped, demanding, expensive middleweight sports bikes available. Being a triple, you may expect the F3 to be similar to Triumph's now defunct Daytona 675, but in character they're complete chalk and cheese. The MV, powered by a gruff, short-stroke, high-revving motor, is stacked with electronics and exotic cycle parts many full-litre superbikes cannot match. In return, it's a typical MV, in that it's cramped, it has a tiny riding position, and you may break down trying to find a dealership on this side of, well, Europe. Yamaha is pretty much alone among the Japanese big four manufacturers in developing its middleweight sports offering as seriously as its superbikes, and its latest R6, last given a thorough overhaul in 2017, is, as a result, every inch a junior R1. Current EU regulations may have neutered its performance slightly, because in road trim its 116 brake horsepower is actually down than its predecessor, but that gets easily boosted for the track, and its slick and exquisitely handling chassis, sophisticated electronics and astounding brakes make up for it. On the downside, it's certainly not cheap, and makes Kawasaki's latest ZX-6R seem a bargain. When was the last time that a Japanese sports bike cost almost as much as its MV Agusta equivalent? Still, you only need to look at any supersports racing series in the world to see the results, as it absolutely dominates the world over. The supersport class in a traditional sense may be waning, but the Yamaha R6 is certainly a big asset to the category still. Kawasaki's twin-cylinder, novice-friendly middleweight sportster, the Ninja 650, may not exactly boast headline stats of the bikes around it here, but viewed in isolation, it's a bloody good, entertaining and lively sportster at a price that makes it arguably one of the best sub £7,000 bikes on sale today. Updated again for 2020, it's the latest incarnation of the machine which started life as the feared ER6F way back in 2005 and now boasts 67 horsepower. 3 significant revisions and a name change later, the Ninja 650 is, in broad terms, a slightly more mature, better equipped and sharper looking CBR 650R. Its twin-cam 647cc parallel twin thrives on revs and remains the most popular basis for TT mini-twin racers, while its chassis, although nowhere near as sharp or sophisticated as Kawasaki's purer ZX-6R, can still be entertainingly hustled while still being practical and comfortable. Best of all, however, this latest update gives the Ninja 650 a stylish new dash, revised bodywork intended to mimic the ZX-10R, and a fruitier exhaust note. As an accessible, affordable and stylish introduction to middleweight sports machines, it doesn't really get much better than the Kawasaki 650 Ninja. Okay, we know what you're thinking, but let's just forget Stuart Garner, if only, and focus on the Norton he was supposed to be building. With all the controversies that led to the rescue of Norton earlier in 2020, and interruptions to production before the Superlight began to be built, admittedly we're entering questionable waters here. Nonetheless, Norton's middleweight supersport is still an official model. It's advertised for sale on the website still, and was, as lockdown began, being developed by multiple TT winner Peter Hickman to race at this year's Isle of Man TT. So we're going to include it here. Well, it's our list, we'll do what we want. Besides, it's flipping gorgeous. A handcrafted, polished frame derived from that of the Norton V4, single-sided swinger, top-spec cycle parts, including Olin suspension, V4-alike bodywork, and underneath all that, Norton's new own 105 brake horsepower parallel twin. In short, it's a true superbike with a middleweight motor, if you can get one, that is. Oh, and if that's not enough, a limited edition supercharged SS version is also intended to be built with a full carbon bodywork costing just shy of 50k. Like we said at the beginning, if money was no object. Look who's back! If your mouth was already watering at the prospect of MV Agusta's simply gorgeous middleweight sports offering, the 675's 3-cylinder F3, take a look at this. The long-stroke 800cc version is actually a much more attractive and useful bike by virtue of its gruntier, even more charismatic performance. Power is up to a healthy 148 brake horsepower, along with an extra wodge of meaty torque, which is very welcome, but otherwise these two exquisite pocket rockets are virtually identical. Dual-like styling, a tiny focused chassis, handling that will run rings around virtually anything, and an involving, intoxicating middleweight sports experience that'll both delight and cause despair in equal measures. Hearts may roll overhead on this one, but hell, everyone in their life needs to purchase a motorcycle that makes absolutely no sense at least once in their lives. One of the great sadnesses of the modern motorcycle market is the recent demise of that most British and brilliant middleweight sports machines, the Triumph Daytona 675. The Hinkley-built triple was not only quick and fine handling enough to match the very best from Japan, winning TTs and British Supersport championships along the way, it also had a distinctive 3-cylinder character all of its own, which actually made it a better, more lithe and flexible road bike than its 4-cylinder rivals. That sadly all ended a couple of years ago when it was dropped from the range. For 2020, however, it's one of very brief respite. Built to commemorate Triumph's involvement as an engine supplier to the Moto2 World Championship, the Daytona Moto2 765 Limited Edition is the ultimate middleweight sports machine. Based on the already brilliant 675, it has an uprated 765cc engine, similar to that in the latest Street Triple, carbon fibre fairing, single seat unit, front mud guards and hugger, and is individually numbered with its own plaque. Few motorcycles have generated as much buzz as the Aprilia RS 660 in recent years, so when we finally got a chance to throw a leg over it at the official press launch recently, let's just say the hype was real. There are many reasons why the RS 660 is potentially so pivotal. It doesn't have a direct rival in that it steers away from the ZX-6R R6 shrunken superbike for the road model. With 100 horsepower and weighing in only 169 kilograms, it is more potent and expensive than a 650 Ninja or CBR 650R. The result is a model that deserves to stand on its own unique place, and one that could well inspire other manufacturers to shuffle things closer to its low-weight, responsive usable power and exceptional handling model. The result is a machine that deserves to stand on its own, and one that could well inspire other manufacturers to shuffle things closer to the Aprilia's low-weight, responsive usable power and exceptional handling model, though Aprilia does raise the bar a little further by cramming in all manner of clever tech to make its RSV4 big brother proud. There is a lot riding on the RS 660 too, because it will spawn a whole family of models including a Tuono Naked and a Touareg ADV. But Aprilia can be safe in the knowledge that not only has it nailed this one, it might have just saved the entire class altogether.